Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about none other than Animefest 2024. This happened on July 25th through the 28th. And more importantly, this is going to be the last big Animefest. So moving forward, there are going to be smaller scale versions of this convention. And we have no idea how that's going to turn out. So for most of us, we're looking at this as the end of an era, so to speak. Even though this is only my third time going to the convention, I'm definitely going to miss it. And it's a shame because this was the convention I picked to replace Akon, but I'll just have to figure something else out. But anyways, with that being said, I'm treating this video as a going away party. So I hope I do the convention justice. I attended around 20 panels this year, and that was mainly due to this is the first year of Animefest that I actually attended for 4 days. If you're new to the channel, I mainly cover anime and gaming news, but every so often I like to make videos such as this, covering conventions, because I think conventions are a lot of fun, and I've been attending for over 20 plus years. But if that sounds remotely intriguing to you, please consider subscribing. Now, I don't want to waste any more of your time because we have a lot of stuff to cover, and I hope you enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Ryofu, and you are watching The Gaming Harbinger. So my initial plan was to get to the convention around 1 p.m., but I also kind of knew in the back of my head, I was like, there's probably not going to be a lot of stuff going on. Now, unbeknownst to me, I was mistaken about this because, from previous experiences from other conventions, you go on a Thursday and there's usually not a lot going on. You can get your badge, move stuff into your room. There might be a couple of things going on, but not a whole lot. So they kind of treated this like a Friday, which, hey, no complaints on my end. Not only that, the dealer's room was open, the artist alley was open. So, I was very, very pleased with this. So that means essentially we got 4 days of artist alley and dealer's room time. So unfortunately, this is actually the first year and the last year that Animefest would be held at the Lowe's Hotel. Now, what's interesting about this is that there's the Lowe's Hotel, right? But then right across the street, and it is also connected by a bridge if you don't want to walk in the elements, but just literally across the street is another hotel called Lowe's Live. So essentially, I guess you could say they're owning two hotels, and we actually got rooms at the Lowe's Live, which actually I didn't know that. I just assumed, oh, they're calling it something weird or different. This is some kind of hotel thing, whatever. Got a room, bam. But I was mistaken, and I guess maybe the first batch of people, they locked those reservations in early, and I missed out on that, and I guess I ended up getting Lowe's Live, which was fine because it was extremely close. Not really a big deal, a hop, skip, and jump away. By the way, on the Lowe's Live event side, there was some kind of country music event going on. So there was moments of like cosplayers juxtaposed with cowboys. Very interesting stuff to say the least. So the first panel I attended was the Sakai Industry panel. If you are not familiar with Sakai, they are known for translating legendary and controversial visual novels such as School Days, Nekopara, and Sakura. This panel was good, but shorter than expected.
I don't get it. I guess it's a seat cushion? You could sit on it, or put it against you. So that's okay too. So, if anybody's interested in this Nekopara seat cushion, let's do this one more time. There is more interest. I see how it is. All about that cat girl life. I can respect it. If you're gonna have to choose between the two, look, life is difficult enough as it is. We gotta, Yeah, that's how I do it. All right, so we good? Ready to go? Yeah. All right. John, Dan, boom. Okay, guess what? You get to play against yourselves, and basically the only winner that's left is the winner. So basically, if you play against yourselves, basically you have to keep doing it until there's only one winner. So it's just 3 of you. You can just do it right over there. That's fine. You can rubber. I'm winning.
Okay, so the next panel was group voice actor Q&A. In this Q&A, we had the following voice actors: Corrine Sudberg, James Cheek, Drew Breedlove, Cayman Casey, Bryson Bogus, and Howard Wang. I always appreciate moments like this. Sometimes if you have too many people on the mic, it can get it can become absolute madness. But it really turned out to be a really good time. It was a very fun panel. I don't have much to say on the next thing, the opening ceremony. Like I've told people countless times, I encourage people to go to the opening ceremonies, even if you are someone that's very familiar with conventions, because it gives you an opportunity to know what kind of guests are going to be there and what kind of events they're having. And also, sometimes they give the guests a moment to speak.
Hi everybody, I'm Caleb. It's good to see y'all. Great to see y'all. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here at another home state convention. I live just down the road in Fort Worth, so very happy to be here. I got a concert tomorrow if y'all want to come out. I'm singing all kinds of songs. I'm singing, apparently I'm singing copyrighted stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be real edgy tomorrow. We're breaking all the rules. I've sung for some shows. I sung for Kaiju. I've sung for Maiden Abyss. I sung for this little show called Ruby. So I've done a handful of stuff like that. But if you want to hear some great music, come on out tomorrow in this room. I believe at 8 o'clock. Yes, 8 p.m. and I will be. It's 8 what? 8P5? What is 8P5? But what does 8P5 mean? Program 5. Oh, they're just speaking in code. I was like, is this military or?
Hi everyone, this is my first Animefest. I'm so excited to be here. As it says on the screen, my biggest thing is Kosuke Momonosuke from One Piece, Nataka-san from Fire Force, Arshe and Entima from Overlord, and a whole bunch of stuff. I also do song covers, adaptation covers, and I'm doing actually a music adaptation panel tomorrow. Let me look at the back of my badge. At 3 in panel room 1, I guess. It just says P1. I also have a Pokemon game show on Saturday. There's gonna be prizes, lots of awesome stuff. Thank you for having me at the con. Have fun!
So the next panel was Sword Art Online, the Abridged series. And let me tell you, unbeknownst to me, I'm actually quite familiar with Something Witty. But at the time, I was just like, I don't know who this is. And then once I saw this episode, oh my God, I was like, oh, okay, so it's these guys. Okay. Absolutely hilarious panel. I mean, I guess we got to see an unreleased episode that's going to come out pretty soon for Sword Art Online Abridged. And it was hilarious. It was good stuff. Had some weighty moments in there too. It's interesting that they're able to pull off serious moments, but also just have a lot of funny stuff going on as well. But I enjoyed this so much that I ended up going to all their other panels. They had 5, and I went to all 5.
I don't say that.
Point it out.
Abridging's been around since 2006?
Yeah.
So, I'm actually curious about something.
Oh no.
What led to abridging this anime? Was it because it had a lot of stuff to say about the original material? Just want to take a shot at it?
Well,
It's loaded.
this show in particular has a very, very amusing journey for us.
Sorry.
Manny and I discovered, the first couple of Brit shows, just on YouTube, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yu Hakusho, Kaiser Neko's Litlon, and we wanted to do our own thing, and we started doing it on the original Yamato SFX channel, Musorinken Abridged, and then Hunter x Hunter Abridged, and we were really happy with the script we wrote, for Hunter x Hunter 3, where we were waiting on one actor, just vanished off the face of the earth. Our Kurapika in Hunter x Hunter. And we figured, let's do something on the side, just for fun.
Yeah, just have some time.
To kill the time before we get back to our real project, Hunter x Hunter Abridged.
And
That's the mainstay.
Yeah, for real, yeah, that's what everybody.
and sorta was like, you know, pretty big at the time. Like, was having fun watching that. So like,
They
when
hadn't even announced it in English dub.
yeah. So like when our old friend Cheeseman Joe suggested like, hey, I want to start doing like a sort of online abridge. You want to like maybe get in on that? It's like, yeah, sure. I'm not doing anything. That sounds like a good time.
And then it exploded in popularity and was way better received than anything we had done before. And we still weren't hearing back from our Kurapika, and we didn't want to recast him, so we were like, let's keep making sword art. And then
We're still just passing the time until he gets back.
Yeah.
and then
Hey, you do now.
years later, we found out the actor that vanished on us did so to go on tour with a clown marching band across Europe.
You won't
So-
thank that clown marching band for
Yeah.
say, oh my
If it wasn't for a clown marching band, Sword Art Online Abridged would not exist. Yep, I want everyone to be cursed with that knowledge.
Never thought that would be our origin story, but here we are.
So kind of like I told you guys, Thursday was kind of the chill day. But, I mean, in comparison to other conventions, I mean, they had plenty of stuff going on. But for me, the things I wanted to go to, there weren't as many. But Friday and Saturday, we went in overdrive. Lots of stuff to do. But anyways, the first thing I tried to do was go to a Sakai production panel. And unfortunately, with this panel, I can't remember exactly why I was 10 minutes late. But when I got there, they were at like the Q&A part and practically done with the whole thing within 10 minutes. Crazy. So unfortunately, I missed it. And of course, I had plenty of things to do. So I kind of just walked my happy ass around the dealer's room. No problem. So after I killed a little bit of time, it was time to go to the next panel. So I went to see a Q&A for Aaron Dismuke. Now, oh my God, this guy was hilarious. Again, this is kind of like the something witty. This is like a something witty moment. Like, this guy was so good that me and my friend were like, hey, we need to see what else this guy's doing because he has some good panels. And I mean, he talked about like his experience in voice acting because he started at a really young age. He told us some of the things he likes to do included gardening, and he said that he's a part of like a little gardening community and they think he's like a freaking legend because, you know, he's an actor.
And I was a real boy and I was literate, which was my great qualification, was being a pre-adolescent literate male. It's probably the only time, I'm sure it's come up before, but yeah. So I got to go in and basically be the young version of a lot of characters, and then I got to audition for Alphonse Elric in Full Metal Alchemist, and that role obviously changed my whole life. I ended up getting to like fly around the world and stuff to conventions. I took my mom to England. It was really incredible. And still probably the biggest thing I've ever been part of. But right around, well, no, I guess the time when I decided I was going to make it in the industry was right after college. I had moved back in with my parents, like you do when you have a bachelor's in history. And I had gotten a job waiting tables, like you do when you have a bachelor's in history. So I'm waiting tables, and my dad pointed out that I had won a short story contest while I was in college, and he's like, why don't you send that story to the head writer at Funimation? So I did, and that writer was like, you should do an audition script for me. And I started doing script adaptation, which, how many of you know what script adaptation is? Oh yeah, wonderful. Get ready to get educated.
He even showed us a clip of his daily stretch routine.
Would y'all like me to demonstrate my morning routine?
Yes.
Feel free free to do it with me.
So, start out like this, and then I lean forward on this knee. Listen, I can't vouch for these poses, okay? I can't tell you that they're official. It's just what works for me. So I'll do this for 10 seconds, okay? And then I'll rotate this back foot, and I'll go up here. So I'm actually doing Warrior 2, then Warrior 1. This is Warrior 1, and I do Warrior 1 because it's the best path into Warrior 3, which if y'all are doing it with me, maybe don't do this one. But Warrior 3 is that.
Oh,
Okay? You'll get there.
Okay, I'm curious. Okay, I can.
It takes time. I recommend practicing it in the privacy of your home. Okay, so I do those, and then I forget. It's called a chaturanga. Is where you go. I think like you go down and then like that. So this is or upward dog. And this you can really stretch your throat. I can't talk while I do it, but. You can get you can do it at a couple angles and kind of loosen up your neck with that. And then I'll do upward dog. And then I'll go from that to child's pose. And you slowly stretch back into the child's pose, and that kind of relaxes everything. And then I'll do it facing the other way.
Like I said, this dude, he was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of jokes during this panel. And like I said, I went to a couple of his stuff just because he was so good at this one. Okay, so before I get into the next panel, I have to tell you, there were some food trucks that were kind of on the side of the building, but you had to walk down some stairs, and then walk along the side of the building. And obviously, of course, this whole time you're outside. And then you would get to an area where there's a whole bunch of artificial turf, and they had a huge massive screen showing sports. They had about 4 food trucks out there, and and they had all these tables lined out. It was nice. It was really nice. I was like, ooh, fancy. I'm digging it. It's a vibe. So my friend and I ended up picking the truck that had gourmet breakfast burgers. Sounds a little interesting. Delicious, man. Delicious. That burger was fire. French fries were good too. And I was just like, you know what? I'm already spending money, so I'm going to get some boba tea too. So it was a splurging moment, but man, that hit the spot. That was some good stuff. And like I said, the location was awesome too. I am literally kicking myself that I did not bring my camera, but you know what? I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I know some people are recording themselves eating and stuff like that, but I have my camera on a gimbal, and it's dude, this is way uncomfortable. And hauling it around already is a little bit of a pain, but could you imagine hauling all of this stuff, and then you're okay, now let's show the burger. Now I'm eating the burger. Okay, now let's move the camera. And I don't know how people do that. Seriously, I have limits. Okay, I have limits, and I'm just I'm not gonna do all that. But I still wish I would have just grabbed it real quick and just went back down there, got some footage, and left. The other thing too that I'm totally leaving out, it was hot. So I mean, like I said, the ambience, the atmosphere, the vibe, it was cool, but it was hot. So I was sweating my ass off. Okay, so that's the other part I'm leaving out. But anyways, it was still a cool scene. It was still a cool vibe. Wish I would have got some footage, but you can't win them all. All right, so the next panel was a more serious panel, and this was Saving Hyrule Saved Me. And this was done by Cole Fiker. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. So before we get started with this, I do want to preface it that I do not have any footage from this panel. And the reason for this is I came in probably 2 minutes before the panel was about to start. And I kind of just sat down for a moment, but then once he was about to get started, I started getting my camera ready and everything. And then someone tapped me on the shoulder and told me that a minute before I got there, he said that he didn't want any video footage of this panel to be recorded. And I was just okay, yeah, that's fine, no problem. And I always try to be mindful of this, since I've been covering conventions because every convention is different. Some people are totally okay with people recording, and some people are not. And I mean, if you're ever thinking of doing this stuff like how I'm doing it, I would say just keep that in mind. Some people are going to be very open and friendly. Some people might respond aggressively, and some people, they're just going to be, you can see everything on the website, like we allow this, we don't allow this, blah, 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 blah. If you're unsure. And then also the golden rule is if you're unsure, you can always just ask that person. So literally about 10 minutes in, it became very obvious why he didn't want any footage to be recorded. And that is because there was a lot of traumatizing stories he shared. And I'm sure that this is a panel that he should continue to do, because I really think he could help people with the stories that he shared at this panel. But I totally understand why he wouldn't want to, because a lot of them were very personal and intimate, involving his family, really sad and tragic stuff. But then at the same time, what was there to help him through all that? It was almost like every time he went through something rough, a new Zelda game was coming out. And then he got into that, and then it kind of, got him through the hardships. And then, 5 years later, something else was happening. And then there was another game coming out, and it's like, well, I have this to look forward to. And I mean, it was a really good panel. Job well done. Like I said, I hope he continues to tell these stories, because people definitely need to hear them. The next panel was Virtual Friendships, Virtual You with Firozera. Now, this panel was about being an influencer and just trying to find that perfect balance with your audience, as well as dealing with other influencers and trying to balance that. And as you guys can already guess, for someone like me that's been making videos for a while, it is hard to balance those things and have a healthy lifestyle and not just be super hyper obsessed with just making the next video, catching on to the latest trend. And then also, when you're trying to work and collaborate with other people, it's challenging because, everybody does stuff so differently. So this was a panel for me. This one's for me. So another tragic story, the Caleb Hiles concert. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I could really make this into a long segment discussing everything that happened, because it was in one room. Then they moved it to another room, but me and 5 people, we were just sitting there waiting, thinking, oh, maybe no one wants to go to this. And nope, they moved it. And then we go, we're waiting. Now at this point I'm looking and I'm like, it's 30 minutes after now. And I really want to go to the Something Witty panel that's coming up. So I'm like, oh, well, it's time to go. I can't wait any longer. I can't remember if maybe I also had to go to the bathroom. I really can't remember. But I was just like, well, I'm done waiting. We're not, the show hasn't even started or anything. We're still just out here waiting. And I understand sometimes stuff like this happens, right? So the next panel was how to make an abridged series. And again, I told you these fine people, they killed it this weekend. I'm just be honest with you. Spoiler alert. They killed it this weekend with their panels. But this one was just kind of explaining some of their process, mixed in with some humor and some jokes and stuff. And you got to ask some questions. But just the process, them explaining everything and also explaining, when a lot of action is happening and you're trying to get the lips to flap just right. It sounded like it was just hours and hours and hours of hard work. Absolutely insane.
I hate this project. I hate that I'm doing it. I was just like, why? Why am I going through this problem? So you definitely need to have that passion for it. It can't just be something that's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's got
to have motivation.
Editing is a long, and back then I was not doing intensive editing. So even basic editing is
there is definitely a hump you gotta get over when you've been editing something for so long and you're getting your own head this isn't funny. No one's gonna like this. You have to really remember how you felt.
You ever heard the same joke 85 times in a row?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then also in slow motion while you edit it.
Yeah. You're like, this is garbage. No one's gonna like it. And then you get tries on it. They're like, that's so funny. And you're like, oh, yeah.
You forgot why I thought this was funny.
Exactly.
Thank you for knowing.
So we have another convention horror stories panel. You guys know I love going to these. These are very entertaining. And the person that was delivering this, I mean, she was amazing. She was amazing. But I kind of knew, unfortunately, that I was like, I'm not going to stay for the whole thing. But the other thing was that, like, this room was packed. And I wasn't anticipated. Well, I guess I should have anticipated this because I think most of the time I've gone to these, the room has been pretty packed, but I wasn't anticipating it. And then I was like way in the back, and then I couldn't stand and record. So then I had to sit down, and I just couldn't get any good footage. But I mean, for the time that I was there, man, this was a blast. This was fun. Like I said, never disappoints, never disappoints. So we are now at the last panel I attended on Friday, and it was the third Something Witty panel. And you know, I was not disappointed. In fact, this might have been like, well, I don't know if I would say it's tied for first place. So at this panel, they were going to unveil a new project they had been working on. So I guess you could say this was an Animefest exclusive. And wow, like this one, I think they got one. They got one. Like they got a hit on their hands. Like this was absolutely hilarious. Like it is, oh man, and it's the perfect anime. I personally think the perfect anime, which it's an anime I totally adore. But it's the way, you know, some of the circumstances in the story, they are going to just have a blast, like just coming up with countless gags and innuendos. It's going to be so insane. But like that first episode was killer. It was killer. So much fun. So Saturday, I wanted to start the day off right. And we started it off with some cosplay chess. Now, I don't have too much to say here, but I will just say, like, I think cosplay chess is it's an anime convention staple. I mean, I don't know if it's a convention staple, like if you're like at a Comic-Con, but I know at anime conventions, this is a convention staple. You gotta have cosplay chess.
Okay, Angel Dust, I need you to remember that this is a family-friendly event. Thank you. And he looks good to go all the way down the field and stand next to Zenitsu. No, yeah, there you go. I'm putting on my cast. That's okay. 9S. Can I have you go ahead and take out Haruhi and then say check for me? Wait. Kiss, fall and die.
So the next panel that I attended was Anime Fan Psychology, and I'll be honest with you, this is probably like one of the main things I was looking forward to at Animefest. I really enjoyed their panel last year, and I just like looking at the data points and seeing like, okay, you know, what do we learn from this? What type of people are anime fans? I find it really fascinating. I know some people, whenever I try to tell my friends, they just kind of stare at me blankly like, that doesn't sound very interesting. And I just want to say, in comparison to last year, like, this bunch of people were much livelier. Like, they were like having their little jokes here and there. And then our presenter here was just, he was rolling with it. Like, he did not flinch. He had some jokes of his own. And it was just a really good time. I'll try to show some clips for you.
So every year we ask some miscellaneous stuff that we're probably not going to write whole big long academic papers on. So here's the miscellaneous stuff we asked last year. Last year we had 2,600 anime fans complete the survey. This is year-on-year satisfaction with life. This is an indicator of well-being. So how well is the anime fandom feeling? And there was this real drop here in 2022, and I freaked out. And And we had other items that year, which was like, do you feel burned out from work or school? And people felt really burned out. And I was like, I'm gonna have to go on tour to all these cons and talk about mental health and well-being. And then it popped back up a little bit the next year, so I was like, okay. I freaked out, I didn't need to. Everything's okay. Y'all are okay. Just had a bad year. Here's the religiosity of anime fans that we asked in 2014 and again last year to see if there was any change. There was a little bit of change. People became less religious. Then again, young people in general tend to be less religious. Here were the number of friends. This one was a little scary last year because friendships is one of the main predictors of your well-being. So here are the number of friends overall that fans have. Here are the number of those friends who are anime fans. So it's about the same. You kept your same anime friends, but the overall number of friends went down a little bit between 2014 and 2023. So y'all get out there and make some friends. That's my advice. Do you have an anime-related sticker on your vehicle? One thing I learned, a lot of people don't have vehicles. And then only about 10% of people do have a sticker on your vehicle. And interestingly, it does predict the other things about your connection with the fandom, whether or not you have a sticker, because you're displaying, well, I'm not gonna get in. This will take forever if I get into this. Somebody asked, you should ask in the middle of your survey, just ask, are you a dog or a cat person? And there's research on this from Gosling, who's at UT Austin. And he did a big internet survey, are you a dog person, a cat person, both, or neither? And he also is a big personality person. And he found that cat people versus dog people are higher on neuroticism, openness to experience, and lower on conscientiousness, agreeableness, and extroversion. Impressively, the blue bars are anime fans. Anime fans are more likely to be cat people than they are to be dog people, whereas if you go out into the population, people are more likely to say dog person. And it weirdly matches up with the personality traits because anime fans tend to be introverted. So maybe this question, are you a dog or a cat person, actually predicts your personality type.
I think one section that people really enjoyed was a section that involved non-anime fans, and they pretty much would say, okay, this is what we think of people that watch anime or read manga. And it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. So the next panel was a Honkai Star Rail Q&A. And this included the voice actors Bryson Bogus and Howard Wang. And I have to say, it's not too often I hear voice actors state that they are actively playing the game that they're in. I think that is awesome. And Bryson even admitted to throwing a little cash its way. That is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, he didn't have to convince me of anything. He just put in the group chat, hey, who wants to do a song? And we were like, me! React to this message, and then just everybody started reacting. Honestly, I think he had to cut people because there was too many. Like, too many people wanted to do it.
It's really hard to balance that many. Like singing is such a huge part of what I do, and like I don't get to do it as often as I want to. So like any opportunity to be like, hey, who wants to be part of this song? Like, get me in there, please. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thank you.
So we have the fourth something witty banger. And as always, I was not disappointed. This time, though, they were covering questions regarding YouTube. And, I mean, some of you may or may not know this, but, you know, I've been making videos on YouTube for about 5 years now. And I mean, I probably studied and analyzed stuff a year before I even put out my first video. So it's really like, for me, it's like 6 years I've been just studying and analyzing, looking at stuff with thumbnails, all kinds of ridiculous stuff. What's important? Do you need to do this? You need to do that. And so I can never get enough information like this. Even if half of it I've heard, I still like going to stuff like this and learning what I can about YouTube.
I make
Okay, you make it. Yeah, we do our best.
So basically what I'll say is there comes a point algorithmically where a channel has gained enough momentum and growth that the algorithm will care about, notice it, and start tracking its uploads and speed and progress and deliver it an amount of success based on recommendations, based on how often it's uploading and how often people stay on YouTube. There are metrics for if someone left another site to come to YouTube, then stayed on YouTube after watching your video to watch another video. And a lot of people, like, I think that was how, like, the Paul brothers got into stuff, is they were doing explicitly, well, they were doing, sensationalist sort of things. Like, they were doing things that were upsetting or clickbaity or what have you, so people would write news articles about them, and then it would link to the video, and then people would go from the news article to the video, watch their video, and then be guided somewhere else on YouTube. And YouTube really likes when it pulls someone from another website to it and keeps them there. So it recommended all of their videos to as many people as possible, gave them a better rate of pay, which I can go into CPM and RPM later on. But like that kind of thing. And once they got bigger, it started mattering how much they uploaded. But until you hit that point, you kind of do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it, and just see kind of what fan base emerges from what you're passionate about and what you've been doing. So like, I would personally say it's, especially starting out, so overwhelmingly critical that it's something that you care about, that you're passionate about, that you're putting love and effort into because you like it specifically, because that's pretty much the only thing that's going to get you through the 20 subscribers, 50 subscribers, you know, like 1,000 subscriber phase, when you're just trying to get a platform in the first place and have people watch your stuff. So having whatever speed you want to upload is the correct speed for a good while. That's what I would say. Just do stuff that you like, that you're passionate about, that's not going to tire you out, and do it at a rate that's not going to harm you or burn you out or affect your quality of content.
The Something Witty panel and this next panel were like a double banger of education. This next one was How to Be a Media Critic by Aichi Yume. Even for someone such as myself that has been on YouTube for 5 years, like I said earlier, I still have my moments of second guessing myself, like, you know, do I hold this position? Do I need to be aggressive? Do I need to be jokey? What, you know, you second guess yourself all the time. But I will be honest, I haven't really had any major, like, negative interactions in regards to my videos. But I understand that time could come, and you just have to be ready for it. Listening to Aichi Yume's advice kind of just reaffirmed some of the things that I have already been putting into practice. You know, just like double checking all of your sources. Try not to make any mistakes. I mean, you're human, but try not to make mistakes. But more importantly, just keep in mind that you're not going to always agree with your subscribers/followers, and they're not going to always agree with you.
Why do you think media criticism is important?
Whatever is written about the media is also like a reflection of like the culture, the time period, the characters, the norms, what's acceptable to audiences at the time, what's aged well.
Correct. Those are all great answers. Give yourselves a pat on the back unless you're like me and your arms are too short to reach. Media criticism is important because all media is trying to tell or sell you something. Your manga is trying to tell and sell you something. Your video games are trying to tell and sell you something. Even mindless entertainment is pushing an agenda. This is not conspiracy, this is advertising. A field that I've been in for 10 years. Everything you look at is trying to make a point. And it gets so much more interesting when you realize the point it's trying to make. So one of my aha moments was I got really bored of the MCU fast. And I love Marvel comics. And I couldn't figure out why. It took me a minute, but I watched a video essay about how superheroes have to maintain the status quo. Your superhero is not going to fly in through a door, demand that everyone receives a living wage, abolish homelessness, or anything like that. Especially the way American superheroes are written, is to sell a certain aesthetic. And that aesthetic is the status quo.
You know, she also talked about like the negative side of things, about, you know, how something can happen and it could go viral, and it could go viral in a, you know, where you get backlash in a sense, and just processing that. And I'm glad she shared her story, Granted, I mean, her backlash that she received, I mean, that was mad weird, but but it just shows that, I mean, it could happen to you when you least expect it. Highly entertaining. I really appreciated this panel, and also, I mean, she had a great sense of humor about everything and just taking things in stride. Now, surviving the zombie apocalypse was another Aaron Dismuke banger. Now, this one, absolutely hilarious. And pretty much what I learned from this was that in the zombie apocalypse, Aaron is going to be running around with a pike, just stabbing zombies in the head, I guess. He's going to be one of those people.
I think, especially if you're on the roof, and zombies aren't great climbers, so you can just kind of, hey, come here. You can let your dog bark. Just, hey, psh, hey, psh. You know, you just get your steps in. Get your stabs in, take a break, have a drink, get back out there. Yes, in the back.
So, you talk about spider spears a lot. Just wondering what you think about those games where you modify your weapons and like add shock or fire abilities to your spear. Think you'd try any of that?
Maybe if they're mutated super zombies, you might want that.
Yeah, like smokers.
Yeah, if you got the left before dead situation, I think those like things make sense. The only other time they make sense is if you want to like scare another group of survivors. Like if you have neighbors that you don't super like, you might just like have a little flame shoot out of the tip of your spear and say, "No, you're kind of crazy."
So immediately after the Aaron Dismuke panel, I immediately just hauled ass to the cosplay contest. And of course, obviously, it was packed. You know, one of the biggest events, you could say, for the day. I will always say this, one of my personal favorite parts of going to a cosplay contest is the skits. I'm always down there for the skits.
One moment. You are navigating these test chambers faster than I can build them, so feel free to slow down.
This is amazing. We can walk wherever we want. Look, just go left. No, go right, go right. Don't even care. Just go wherever you want. Couldn't care less. Oh, brilliant! You did find a portal gun. Just pop a portal right behind me there and come on through to the other side.
So our last and final Something Witty panel was a clip of My Hero Academia Abridged. Now, as always, this did not disappoint whatsoever. It was absolutely hilarious. But then something unexpected happened. They said, hey, we have a little extra time, so do you guys want to see that secret project again? Because they noticed that a lot of us had returned, so they were like, do you want to see that secret project again? Hell yeah, we want to see that again. Come on, let's go. Let's go. So we got to see it a second time. It did not disappoint again. It was still just as funny as it was the first time around. Again, I can't wait for that. I really can't wait for that. I think they got one. Okay, so for Sunday before we left, I attended two more panels, and then I did a quick look around the dealer's room, and then we left. But the first panel for the day was the Vocaloid performance. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was probably the most wholesome thing I saw at the convention. And it was just young people having a really good time, coming up with routines and everything. And they did a really good job. They also had a Q&A where people had a chance to win prizes. And that's when I realized, yeah, my Vocaloid knowledge is a little dated. But shout out to everyone who participated in this panel. It was a very good show. The last and final panel that I attended was a Q&A with Mint Phantom. I hope I'm saying that right, by the way. I heard one of the fans say the name, so I'm assuming that that's correct. With me wording it that way, you can obviously tell that I am not familiar with this VTuber. However, I will say this. This VTuber was very charismatic, and I could see why there were so many fans there to see her. In fact, I mean, these dudes were lined out the room. They were lined out the room. They were past the door. They were outside of the room. It was insane. I don't think I've attended any VTuber thing that was like this crowded, so many people wanting to ask questions. And this is kind of where I could see where the appeal was coming from, because she did get a couple of trolls, and I don't know if they were like real, like they're really trying to troll, or they thought they were being funny. But even one guy was like, yeah, I don't know you, so I don't have a question. It's like, dude, then why the hell are you in line? Now, she took this in stride, and she had jokes back to throw back at him, and it was funny. She did a real good job of handling that, and not like, she had jokes for them, right? But she wasn't like insulting them, you know what I mean? And it was more playful in a way. I do want to say, like, really, dude, like, you're also wasting other people's time that are waiting to ask this person a question, you know, a legit question.
Oh, my favorite movies are Top Gun. I love Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. I'll watch them all the time. Oh my gosh. What got me out of my shell? I don't know. I think it's because I'm, you know, if I'm in front of people, I feel like I have to be like, ooh, oh my God, so quiet. But because I feel like nobody, you know, like I said, it doesn't feel like people are watching me sometimes because I don't see you guys physically. So I'm just like, I don't have to be held responsible for my actions. I can do whatever I want. So that kind of helps, I think. Thank you.
And I also just want to say that there was a point that she mentioned being a fan of Fatal Frame. Hey, so I'm sorry, I need to calm down. But the thing is, you know, it was done right then and there. It was done. It was like, oh, what did you say? Excuse me? Oh, followed, done, subscribed, just like that. I'm sorry, I'm a simple man. It takes simple things to motivate me, simple things. So I really don't have any negatives to say in regards to the convention. I will say that I did notice that there were less panels than there were last year. And there's no telling what was going on, especially with people hearing that this was going to be the last convention. I have no idea if that was as a result of this, but there was still more than enough things for me to do. So, I mean, I really wasn't affected by that. At least I don't think I was. I also want to give a shout out and thanks to Jeremy from Anime Diet. He really had a moment to talk to me, gave me some really good advice, something that I'll definitely be taking into consideration in regards to covering conventions in the future. This is like something that I started because, I mean, I've been going to conventions for so many years now, and I really didn't have like a plan. I didn't have a blueprint on how I wanted to do this. It just kind of fell into place a certain way. So that's not to say that it won't change or things are going to be done the same exact way every time, because I really didn't have a plan. But I'm really happy with the response that I'm getting as of lately with all of my convention videos. So like I said, I'll definitely continue to make them. And like I said, I really appreciate his advice. You know, it's nice hearing, I guess you could say, a perspective from someone that's doing, you know, not necessarily the same as what I'm doing, but covering conventions in a similar fashion and just getting some perspective and being able to talk to someone about that, you know, it's very helpful to me. So now with Animefest going away and then me being stubborn and trying to avoid A-Kon at least for another year, I have to figure out, what Texas convention am I going to go to now? it might be Fan Expo. And with that being said, it's kind of interesting. It's like, am I gonna now like not go to an anime convention? I'm gonna attempt to go to a more. I was about to make a joke. I'm not gonna make the joke. You can guess what I was about to say if you know me. But anyways, yeah, I was thinking maybe I'll go to Fan Expo, a non-anime one. See how that goes. See how it turns out. Because I've never been to one, so I'm not sure exactly what to expect. There's definitely going to be similarities, but I know there's going to be differences. I know it's going to be more expensive to get those autographs, to get those pictures. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what conventions you're going to. And hey, if you have an idea, if you have a convention you would like me to cover, let me know that as well. I'm not saying that I'll be there because you could be talking about some place that's like 8 or 10 hours away, but you never know. You never know. But as always, I appreciate you watching the video to the very end, and I'll see you next time.
This is a prejudice scale where we say how much do you want to have an anime fan who is one of these things. So nothing changed in terms of this scale. No difference. 10 years apart, how close they want to be to you has not changed. The only thing that was even getting close to significance in terms of changing was to marry into your family, which went down. And we saw the exact same trend in terms of the mean ratings. So they really don't want to date you. They don't want you in positions of power. They don't want you as their physician. They don't want to live as a roommate with you. They don't want you as a teacher of their children.
Could you elaborate on spiritual advisor? Like they don't want their pastor to be in the
anime fan. No, they do not. But they would rather the pastor be an anime fan than dating an anime fan. I mean, that's the bottom of the barrel there. And then, so here's the midpoint of the scale. So they're okay if you own the restaurant that they happen to eat at. They're okay if they work at the same place. And they're okay if you're a neighbor.